Good evening. I don't know if we're live yet. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm going to give everybody a few moments to get ready and join us. And yeah, we'll see how we go. So, hey, here we go. Hello, Karina. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Nettie. We'll give people a few minutes to arrive. I hope you're all well. It's nice to see you this evening. There'll be lots of competition for Facebook Lives in a month or two if the Prime Minister's announcement comes to pass, won't there? So we'll give everybody a few moments or two. So the idea tonight is we're going to go through 25 things about orthodontic treatment for teenagers and children. There's an opportunity, if you have any questions, you can stick them, put them in the feed below, and I'll try and pick up on those. But hopefully we'll cover off most of the common things, but if I miss anything, just let me know. So we'll give everybody another kind of 30 seconds or so, and then we will get started with question number 1, orthodontics for NHS children and teens. Okay? So for those of you who don't know, my name is Guy Deeming. I am a specialist orthodontist at Queensway Orthodontics, based in Billingham, but then we've got practices in Bishop Auckland, Darlington, Consett and Jesmond as well. Right, so welcome. So the most common question that we get asked about orthodontic treatment for teenagers and children is, will I be able to have my treatment within the NHS? And the answer is maybe. The NHS since 2006 have had a really strict set of rules about who does and does not qualify for NHS treatment based on severity. And the system is fairly simple and fairly straightforward, but it is very, very strict. And we will tell you very early on during what we are now doing virtually, a consultation virtually for our NHS patients, whether you are likely to qualify or not qualify for that NHS funding for your treatment. In our experience, around about 7 to 8 out of every 10 patients do qualify for treatment. So the chances are you will be fine, but if it is a more mild problem, a problem with just say a little bit of spacing or teeth that stick forwards a little bit, then it may be something that we're not able to look after you with on the NHS. But if that is the case, then we have got some options available to you should you still wish to pursue treatment for your child, for your teenager, to get that cosmetic change that you're looking for. So NHS treatment, it's available for a huge number of patients. We're very proud of the NHS work that we do. We will offer you a free of charge NHS virtual consultation with one of our specialists when we receive your referral from your dentist, and we will give you lots of information about that then. Okay, question number 2. Do you still need to go, or does your child or teenager still need to go to the dentist whilst they're having their orthodontic treatment? And the answer is absolutely yes. So we're all dentists, but we are specialists in orthodontists, which means that we haven't done general dentistry for a long time. And whilst we can still diagnose decay and all of those kinds of things, it's incredibly important that your dentist is still looking after you or your child to keep a check on those kinds of things and to provide some of that ongoing support, because from time to time we need a little bit of help, maybe with a filling or something that needs to be looked at. And what we don't want to do is to find that you've fallen off your dentist books or they're not able to see you. So really, really important. If you're having any difficulties, because one of the things that we're now finding a little bit because of the problems with COVID is that some dentists are not doing so much routine work. My hope and expectation is that that's getting better quite quickly now. So I think you should find that actually it's much more straightforward to get in with the dentist. But fundamentally, yes, please, please, please keep going for your routine checkup. Super, super important. The next question is also about dentists. Well, what do you do if you can't see your dentist? Well, the short answer is keep trying. Get on the phone, give them a shout. They want to help, but there's a huge amount going on out there at the moment. So if your dentist can't see your child today, tomorrow, or next week, that's okay. But just keep in the loop. Let them know what's happening. Let them know what's happening, and then we will go from there for you. There we go. So I can see there's a comment there about from Shima about you may have to pay for treatment if it's a bit mild. So I've covered that in a sense that some people don't qualify for NHS treatment, and that's okay. We can talk to you about those options. We've got lots of flexible payment plans if we need them to help you through that. The other big question is, what about the waiting lists? So for NHS treatment, we do have a little bit of a waiting list. So the NHS system is a capped contract. So what that means is there's only so many patients that we're funded to treat in a given year. And because having your teeth straightened is super popular and lots of people really enjoy that work and really appreciate the benefits that that can bring, we've got a little bit of a backlog. And I think particularly coming out of the pandemic, that's created some real challenges for us. So at the moment in Billingham, the waiting list is around about 15 to 18 months once we've seen you. In Concert, it's about 3 to 6 months, and in Bishop Auckland, about the same. In Darlington, it's around about 12 months from the point of saying, yes, you qualify for treatment, and yes, we're good to go ahead. So I am super sorry and super understanding of the challenge and the frustration of the waiting list. We're doing everything we can to kind of get patients through efficiently and make sure that all goes smoothly. But the harsh reality is that we only have so much funding in the pot, and we're a little bit limited there, okay? So you need to bear with us, be patient. The good news is, as a general rule, no harm will come by waiting a little while, but we fully understand the situation with the waiting list and the frustration that that can sometimes bring. My hope is that the waiting lists don't get any longer from this point in. Now we're getting back up to full capacity. What's the minimum age for a child to start treatment? Melody, hi Melody. It depends. So we've treated patients as young as 7 or 8, but it tends to be for very specific things and a small number of specific things. Normally it would be when the adult teeth have arrived, so around about the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, something like that. But if you're worried, speak to your dentist and they will advise you, and they can always send across a set of photographs or an x-ray for us to give you an opinion, on. What's the waiting list like at Jesmond? Because Jesmond is private only, we don't have an NHS contract at Jesmond. We don't really have too much of a waiting list. Now we're very busy at the moment, so there's a little bit of a lag, but we're booking patients really in to start treatment within the next month or 2. Why don't some patients on the waiting list get moved to a practice with a lower list? And that is a really good question, and it is an option. However, the small print around that is that if you move to a practice because there's a shorter waiting list, then you'll need to have all of the treatment done at that practice. So you can't then swap back. Does that make sense? So yes, it is a possibility. And if, for example, you kind of live between, let's say, halfway between Billingham and Concert or Bishop Auckland, and you wanted to make that change, that's kind of okay. So you can let us know and we can do that. It's certainly not against the rules. However, it is against the kind of the rules of the way the contracts are run to then swap back. That really causes us some problems, okay? Shaim, I'm sorry you missed your answer. The short answer is, if you're worried that your child may not qualify, we'll go through that with you during that free of charge NHS virtual assessment with one of the specialists, and we'll give you all of those options, okay? Okay, right, question number 4. Why dentist won't refer me? So it goes back to the point Melody made. If your dentist won't refer you, that's okay. There's usually a good reason for that. And it may simply be that there's some things going on in terms of the dental development. Maybe they're not quite ready, and then it maybe needs to wait a year or 2. If your dentist really won't help, then it's okay to give us a call and we'll try and advise you, or we can have a chat with your dentist and so on and so forth. So generally dentists know exactly what they're doing. They know that there's no point sending patients in too early, and they're going to be more than happy to help. So I would just ask them and say, what's the situation? I'll give you some advice. Can our excellent hygienist refer my 11-year-old to your treatment or just their own dentist? That's an interesting question. Generally, it would come through the dentist. But I think if a hygienist in a practice went to the dentist and said, you know what, I'm worried, can we refer? Most dentists would probably say, fair enough, and send the patient over. Because we don't mind seeing patients. We're very happy to give advice and give information during those virtual consultations. My dentist isn't open, what can I do? We've kind of covered that one already. So we're getting through our questions. Can you transfer your care to us? So if, for example, you've started treatment in practice A, but you want to transfer to practice B, it's difficult, is the short answer. If it's a local transfer, Darlington to Bishop or whatever it might be, as a general rule, that's not something that we can do. If you have moved from Portsmouth to Newcastle, then absolutely we can support that, and the NHS would support that. If you're a private patient, then it's a very much on a case-by-case basis, if that makes sense. So the short answer is transfers are not something that we generally encourage, partly because it's a bit like taking over somebody's cooking. You're generally much better off to stay with the person that started the treatment because they're going to be able to deliver the best outcome in the fastest time. So sometimes it's worth putting in a little bit of travel time or whatever it might be just to get the treatment over the line. However, there will always be circumstances and we will always look at those on a case-by-case basis. Do you need to have teeth out? Okay, so this is a biggie and people really worry about this, having to have teeth taken out as part of your treatment. And yes, sometimes there is not enough space in the jaws for all of those teeth to be lined up. Now, if teeth need to be taken out, we'll talk to you about that and we'll explain the reasons why. We completely get that it is the thing that people find the most scary and the most anxiety provoking. So if there's a way around that, we'll always try and avoid that. But the cold hard truth is that sometimes people's jaws are just not big enough to accommodate all of those teeth for all sorts of reasons, and we need to have some teeth taken away. So it's a little bit like if you've got a dining table or a kitchen table at home with room for 4 chairs and you try and put 8 chairs around it, there's not enough room. Nobody's able to enjoy their dinner because there's not enough space. Whereas actually, if you say, actually, you know what, we only want 4 chairs, even though you haven't got as many chairs, everybody sits there and has a nice meal. So it's a little bit like that. You get better use out of a smaller number of teeth. But yes, sometimes we need to take teeth out. And it roughly is around about 30 to 50% of child or teenage patients end up having teeth out. Sarah, if you qualify for NHS brace, is it just the silver braces or can you pay towards it to get the white ceramic? That is a brilliant question. The short answer, I'm afraid, is no. And the simple reason is that the NHS is not about cosmetic treatments and the ceramic braces will be part of a cosmetic treatment, albeit we can sometimes use that for severe problems. But if you had treatment within the NHS, then it would just be the silver braces, which work brilliantly, really high quality, but it doesn't mean you can have the aesthetic appliances, I'm afraid. And the NHS won't let you top up. That might change in the future, but right here, right now, it's either all NHS or it's all outside of the NHS. And sometimes people find that a little bit frustrating, and I get that. But if you do step away from the NHS, it does give you lots of flexibility around how you have your treatment in terms of the timing and so on and so forth. And if you're interested in those options, then you can have a chat with us. Our treatment coordinators will take you through all of that information and they can give you some costings and so on and so forth, if that's something that you're interested in. It's the same with Invisalign. We're treating more and more teenage and child patients with Invisalign now, which is a great system, lots and lots of advantages, but it's something that we ask patients to step away from the NHS if they wanted to pursue that. But really popular system. But all of the treatments that we do are great. They just bring different things to the table, so they have different pros and cons. Okay. Do you need to have the gooey impressions? The short answer is no, you do not, because around 4 years ago, we invested in what's called iTero scanners, which means that we do not need to take impressions anymore. So all of that kind of gagging on that horrible pink gunge is over. We're never doing that again. So that is an easy one. No more gooey impressions. You'd be amazed at how many people are super anxious about that. And it actually puts people off having treatment. It's crazy, but it's true. People are so kind of worried about having that done that they won't have treatment. So we've got rid of that problem. It's all digital, super high tech, super impressive, super cool. No gooey impressions. That's really good news, okay? What about changing your foods and your diet while you've got the braces on? So if you have a fixed brace, we will advise and we will ask that you make some changes to your diet. Now that fundamentally is around making sure that you're not having too many sweet things, particularly sports drinks. Sports drinks are a nightmare. They are so bad for your teeth. They have so much sugar in. So we're super keen to get you to stop having those. It's okay to have a treat, but generally have them at meal times. So sugary things need to be kept to a meal time. And if you're having snacks, the snacks need to be healthy, but they also need to be relatively easy to chew, because we don't really want people, for example, having really kind of crunchy things, because it can damage the brace. So what we ask people to do is to make some very simple changes to make sure that their teeth stay healthy, so not too much sugar, and that their braces stay in one piece, so that their treatment can progress smoothly and quickly and efficiently. So there's definitely some changes required, but they're really straightforward. And actually a lot of them are common sense. But it's not about making people's lives a misery. It's just about striking the right balance. So if you're going to the, imagine this, going to the cinema on a Saturday afternoon, imagine that. It's okay to have a snack or a treat, and that's completely cool. But it's about the normal snacks in the week or during the school day, keeping those healthy and keeping those to a minimum. Nicola, your daughter's had a scan which shows a missing tooth on one side and half a tooth on the other. Let me have a little look. Refer to an orthodontist in Sunderland. Can I ask that she's referred to you instead? Of course you can. You know, I'm more than happy to see patients. I think certainly if you haven't had that referral yet, have a chat to your dentist. You know, you can come across to Concert or Bishop, whichever is closer, and we can get you into our system. So if you're prepared to travel, we're happy to see you and look after you there, okay? All right, next question. Can certain foods discolor the brace? Yes and no is the short answer to this. Now, with the white braces that sometimes people have, traditionally these would discolor, but it wasn't the brace. It was actually the little rubber rings that we use to hold the wire onto the brace that discolors, particularly with certain types of foods. So curries, spaghetti bolognese, tomato sauces, they just go a little bit kind of tired, looking a little bit yellow. If you have the white braces now with us, they're really good. They're really color fast, so they stay really, really bright and fresh looking. With the metal braces, provided that you keep up that simple stuff around keeping the teeth clean, it's not a problem. The teeth stay looking nice and fresh and the braces do not discolor. But traditionally the problem is with the white braces, but because we have some really nice ones now which don't have those rubber rings on, they stay looking really smart throughout treatment, provided that you avoid some of those things around letting the teeth get really grubby, but we'll help you and guide you with that as well. Will it hurt getting the braces fitted? Well, there's no needles, there's no injections. It doesn't hurt having the braces fitted. It's a bit awkward, but once the braces are fitted, it's a little bit like having a new pair of school shoes because they can feel a bit tight and they can rub and they can pinch a little bit. And for sure, it can be a little bit uncomfortable and it can hurt a little bit. It varies from person to person, but normally we would say for between 2 days and a week, it's going to feel a little achy and a little uncomfortable, and taking some routine painkillers such as paracetamol or ibuprofen, according to the instructions on the packet, generally controls that really, really nicely. The other tip is that when you first start, use iced cold water because the wires that we use are really clever. They're heat activated. So as they get warmer up to body temperature, they get a little stiffer. So if you're feeling a bit achy and a bit bruised, cool them down and you get a little bit of relief. The other thing that can really help what people find is that if it rubs, you can use some wax. Now there's wax in the care pack, which I'll show you in a moment, and you just put that over the areas where it's rubbing a little bit whilst the mouth gets used to it. If you are stuck and you can't get any wax or you run out, you know those little Baby Bell cheeses you can buy, the little kind of Swiss cheeses? Just use the wax from that. It's the same stuff. You can just warm it up between your fingers and then pop it over and that will just stop any bits rubbing. If you ever have a problem with a brace which breaks, call us, send us a photograph. We'll be straight on top of that to get that managed and to give you some advice as soon as we possibly can. But we only know if we know. So do please tell us what's happening and we can help support you and look after you if you have a problem with the brace at any stage, because we want to know, because we know that it slows down treatment if something goes wrong with the brace. What about sports guards? Well, sports guards, super important. With braces, it can be a little bit difficult, but we have got things like this. This is called a Shock Doctor, which is a off-the-shelf brace. They're around £20. And what happens is it's got a little groove there that's got enough space to fit over the brace and the teeth to provide protection if you're doing sports such as hockey or rugby or some martial arts and contact sports. Now, there's some martial arts in particular, such as boxing or kickboxing, they want you to have a customized mouth guard which goes over the brace, and we can do those, although they are a little bit expensive. But it's incredibly important that if you're engaging in any of those kind of contact type sports, you must wear a mouth guard, because you can do real harm if you get a knock or an elbow and get, you know, really, really quite nasty injuries if you're not careful. So super important. But again, we've got a little leaflet that we can give you and it's on our website, and we will sell these, and you can actually buy them on Amazon as well. We're not precious about it. Or if we need to, we can make you a custom one from one of those goo-free scans to get made in our lab to suit you and you alone. So, but super important question. Will the teeth become sensitive? Well, we kind of covered this a little bit. They can become a little bit achy. Very occasionally people describe them getting a bit more sensitive, but it tends to be adults rather than teenagers and children. But it's usually because parts of the teeth that have been uncovered have never been uncovered before and they're just a little bit sensitive. So sensitivity is not a major issue for the most part. What about, will my teeth be harmed? Well, the most likely way that your teeth will be harmed is if you don't follow those instructions around modifying the diet. So the harm that we have sometimes seen has been where patients have sadly not quite got on board with stopping the sports drink and stopping the frequency of sugary snacks. The other time that sometimes teeth can be harmed is if the brace breaks or if treatment goes on for a very, very long time. So any harm that orthodontic treatment can cause is firstly very, very rare, and secondly, almost completely preventable by making some very simple changes. So it's really important that there's lots of support from home, lots of support from us when young people are coming to terms with all the changes that are going on with their lives, but also that little bit of extra effort and that change to their diet and, let's be honest, the kind of fun stuff that they're used to eating, if we want to keep them safe. And of course we do, because we want this treatment to be successful and positive and give them those lovely confident smiles. So yes, there are some very real risks, and we can show you some horrible photographs of teeth that have been harmed, but it is completely preventable and within control of the patients and the family and us giving you that support. So sports drinks are a nightmare. Get rid of the sports drinks, please. How often do we tighten the braces? We tighten the braces every 8 weeks, give or take. If there is a problem, we can sometimes bring people in sooner, and occasionally we'll say extend appointments to a little bit longer. So don't panic if your appointments are slightly further apart. There's usually a good reason. No harm will come. It's often because the wires will keep on working and the teeth will keep on straightening. And hey, you get another couple of weeks because it will feel a little bit uncomfortable after each adjustment as the brace gets a little bit tighter. And again, that's normal. Will you need elastic bands? So, for those of you that don't know, occasionally on a brace, and this is a brace, here we go, that's a brace, there we go. We ask patients to wear elastic bands, and they come in a bag like these, and it's a little elastic loop in the bag, hundreds of them, that goes from one part of the brace to the other part of the brace. And the idea is that it changes the relationship between the top and bottom teeth, or it speeds up the treatment. And we use them a lot. So I would suggest that most patients at some point need to have elastic bands on their braces to help their bite and to get their treatment through to the end point really fast and really efficiently. So if you need them, we'll tell you and we'll show you what to do. If you need them, we really hope that you'll wear them because it's going to make your treatment more successful and it's going to make, hopefully, the outcome come a little bit quicker. Can you talk normally? Great question, Deborah. Yes, fixed braces really don't have an impact on speech. Speech is normally affected by the really old-fashioned braces, the big clunky removable things. We very rarely find patients have any problems with speech with their braces, which is fantastic because I know people really worry about that, particularly adults actually, but even teenagers and children worry about that too. But it's rarely a problem, How long will my treatment take? This is another biggie, isn't it? This is the second most common question after will I need teeth out? The short answer is we want the same thing as you. We want you to get the best outcome in the shortest possible time. Normally treatments take between 18 and 21 months on our experience for child and teenage patients within the NHS. Sometimes it's a little bit longer and sometimes it's quite a lot shorter. There are some things that you can do to really speed that up. For example, wear the elastic bands. For example, make sure you keep your appointments. So if you have to cancel or for whatever reason, if you forget, get in touch, keep going, because we really want to keep your treatment going as fast as possible because we want the same thing. Now, we're dealing with human beings and biology, and human beings and biology are a bit unpredictable. So sometimes we get it wrong. And I'm sorry, because we do. But for every time we get it wrong, treatment taking longer, we also get it wrong the other way. So if your treatment is taking a little bit longer, be patient, it's worth it. And there's an old-fashioned phrase which is don't spoil the ship for a ha'porth of tar. And what it means is when you're getting so close to the end, let's not blow it by bailing out early. But we want to get you over the line as fast as we possibly can. So patience is super important. We've grown used to that over the last year. And bear with us. But do ask the question because we always want to try and help give you some information because we know that people worry about that. If you've got a deadline, proms, let us know and we will do our best, but no promises. okay? Treatment time's always a challenge, but the average is 21 months. So if you're doing better than 21 months, you're winning. All right. Thanks for your kind comment, Melody, there. That's really nice. What special toothbrushes do you need? You need some special toothbrushes. I have some here. They come in a box. There's a little cost for it. It's around about £27, I think, and you get all sorts of goodies in here. You get all the kit that you need. You get the fancy brushes and all sorts of things to help you look after your braces, and we will teach you how to do it. You get all the little goodies that you need. You can see them there. But even better, we now have, and this is super exciting, we have got zero waste equivalents, hand stamped. And what you have in here is the same kit, but it's all bamboo, zero waste kit. So you can now get all the brushes that you need to look after your braces at the start of treatment from us, free of plastic waste, which is amazing. So it's one of my pet projects that I am super, super keen to move people away from all this horrible plastic to all this lovely zero waste stuff that we now have. And it's really lovely. Hand stamped by me. Just so you know, limited edition. And you can order all of that stuff 24 hours a day from our online shop, which is bracebrushes.co.uk. Anytime you like, and you can do click and collect, or we can put that in the post to you for a small charge. So bracebrushes.co.uk, have a little look. All the gear that you need is there, and you can get all of the top-ups and all of those kinds of things without having to come into the practice, which is super cool. But about how long, retainers. There's two types of retainers. Let me show you. So retainers you need after the treatment to hold the teeth straight. And there's two types. Leanne, I'm so sorry. It's £23 for the zero waste kit. Leanne is one of our superstar nurses, and it's £23, she's told me. So retainers. You can see there, one type of retainer is a little wire that goes behind the teeth. And the other type of retainer you may be more used to is a little removable retainer that clips over the top. Because one of the things that we know is that teeth move once the braces are removed. And it's incredibly important that you wear a retainer afterwards to stop them moving back for as long as you want to keep the teeth straight. And what we generally say is that for the first year, so all of our patients get these. Some of our patients, where it's clinically indicated, where they've got a very big space, for example, get the wires as well. But let's talk about these little fellas. So these removable retainers, every night for a year. Every other night for a second year, 2 nights a week for as long as you want to keep the teeth straight. We have a new partnership with a company called Retainers for Life. So if you need a new retainer, they will send you a new retainer in the post from your original scans without even having to leave your sitting room or your kitchen. So if you've had treatment and a scan, we can send you new retainers via Retainers for Life, and you can subscribe, and they will send you retainers on a regular basis, because they do wear out a little bit, just like a pair of shoes, but we normally get between 9 months and 3 years worth of wear out of a removable retainer like that. But they are super important, and it makes me super sad that we see a lot of patients who come back whose teeth have moved because they've stopped wearing their retainers. So please take that bit seriously, super important. Okay. Replacing retainer. What about if you've had your treatment elsewhere and you want a retainer? I'm afraid there's quite a lot of patients that fall into that category, and we will try. Next question, we're getting there. This is question number 21. Why didn't I get a wire retainer like this behind my teeth when I had my braces before? Well, the short answer is there probably wasn't a good reason for it, because if you stick something to teeth, it does have to be looked after, and it can sometimes break, and it needs a little bit of maintenance, and there's a bit of hassle with that, and there's a bit of cost. So if there's no reason for it, and you've got removable retainers that you know what you're doing with, there's no reason to have a wire behind the teeth. However, for adult patients and for situations where there is very minor movements that we need to control or very big spaces that we need to control, we will fit bonded retainers. This is a bonded retainer as required. So if there's a specific question, just ask, and we'll try and fill you in with the explanation as to why you may or may not need a wire behind the teeth. So pros and cons to all of these things. Very much something we talk about on a case-by-case basis, because there isn't really one size fits all, you know. Here are the 4. So if you've stayed till the end, well done. Because the next 4, the 4 final questions are the questions. So if you've got any more questions, what time is it? Oh, yeah, we've done half an hour, so it's perfect. So if you've got any more questions, stick them up now on the feed and I'll try and pick up on this. But these are the 4 questions that we get asked and they're incredibly important. Deborah, good question. I'm going to deal with this one first. If you need teeth out, yes, we ask you to go back to your family dentist to have that done. I've taken plenty of teeth out, but I haven't taken any teeth out for 15 years. You probably don't want me doing it, and your dentist is really well placed to do that, and we'll write them a letter so they know exactly what's happening and so on and so forth, and happy days. Right, the 4 biggies. Are you ready? You're sitting comfortably. Will you set off the buzzer at the airport? No. Dead easy. No. Sometimes I say yes, but it's usually because I'm winding you up or I'm jealous of where you're going on holiday. Second question of the big 4. Will you lose weight? There's only one answer to that, and that's you're perfect just the way you are. You don't need to lose any weight. However, some people find that they change their eating habits a little bit at the start of treatment. They maybe snack a little less and so on and so forth. And that's okay, but we are super supportive. You definitely won't lose any weight. And having braces is not part of a recommended weight loss plan. You don't need to lose any weight. You all look great just the way you are. Enjoy yourselves. Have fun. Question 3 of the big 4. Can you still play the trumpet? As somebody that used to play the trumpet with a brace, I can say, yes, you can, but it's a bit sore. So if you are an enthusiastic trumpet player, pucker up and keep on blowing because you'll be all right. However, and isn't the important point, is that if you are coming up to a really important concert or a recital or anything like that, let us know, because it might be that we slightly tweak the way we do the treatment. It might be that we delay fitting the braces. And to be honest, we are treating quite a lot of sports people, contact sports people, boxers and so on, and musicians, wind musicians, with Invisalign. So this is not a plug for, have Invisalign, everybody, but some people are choosing that because it's really, well, I can show you. So Invisalign, effectively invisible braces, and they clip over the teeth a little bit like a retainer, but you can imagine that if you do play contact sports, you can carry on with your sports and your mouth guards. And if you do play kind of the trumpet or the flute or whatever it is, then you can obviously put the pressure on there and it's not going to rub in the same way. So it's a really nice option for those kinds of patients. Equally, we do see some patients choosing this kind of stuff if they're, we get some patients at stage school and these kinds of things who are maybe in performing arts, or they do a lot of dance and they don't want to have the braces that they can see. So really nice option for those kinds of patients. So something to bear in mind. And if you're interested, just let us know and we can give you some more information. And on the subject of puckering up, this is the biggie. Can I still kiss my girlfriend/boyfriend, delete as appropriate? And the short answer, as the father of children that are about to be teenagers, is no, you can't. You can hold hands and go for a walk and talk about the weather, and that's it. So no, absolutely categorically not. There is no puckering up and absolutely no kissing. But the secret, if you want me to tell you the truth, is yes, you can, but just make sure they're not wearing a brace as well. Otherwise, it could be the longest kiss in history. That's not true either. Have fun, do what you like, have a nice time. If you find your true love, give them a kiss. Make sure they don't eat any sugary drinks, drink any sugary drinks. And if they're a trumpet player, you'll need all the luck you can get. So, right. That was my 25 things everybody needs to know about having orthodontic treatment as a teenager or as a child. If there are any more questions, you've got a minute and I'll hang around and we can deal with those. But thank you so much for those that have stayed until the end. I always quite like doing these things. I'm going to miss them if we ever have to stop. Imagine that, going out in public and having to talk to real people again. But thank you so much for your time. If you do have other questions that I've managed to miss along the way, just put them in the feed underneath. We'll pick up on those, and Joe and Laura, our marketing team, will make sure you get a response to those things. The most important thing is keep in touch. Keep in touch, keep in touch. So if you don't follow our Instagram page, if you don't like our Facebook page, please do, because we're always putting information up there about the services, as well as kind of fun stuff and interesting stuff and patient stories. Visit the website. There's loads of information on there too. And if you're worried, just tell us, because we can only help if we know. And we've been here for a very, very long time. We've been doing this for a long time. We have treated tens of thousands of patients now. We've heard it all. We've seen it all. There are no surprises. So please let us know if you've got any questions. Drop us an email, send us a direct message. We love that kind of engagement, and we love being able to help people, because the more informed our patients are, the better the treatments go, the happier the patients are at the end, and everybody's smiling, and it's fantastic. And it makes us really proud to see all of those happy smiling faces at the end of the day. So there we are. Facebook Live, done. Stay well. Take it easy. I look forward to seeing lots and lots of you soon with your families and with your kids and with your teenagers, and yeah, getting them all looked after. So take care. Bye-bye.